Why is CRM the key to success, and how do I implement it? And that's a big question for a lot of people because CRM means many different things to many different companies, right? CRM, by definition, means customer relationship management. And a lot of people think that that is just sort of managing your contacts in your accounts and maybe tracking, the notes of calls you make and things of that nature. But here at Grapevines, we have a much broader definition of what CRM is and what it means. And to us, it really is how you manage what you do in the accounts that do your business. Okay, and there's a lot of things you do in the accounts that do your business, and our tool helps you manage all of it, including plan, execute, and measure the things that drive your sales. Okay, that's going to be a theme that we're going to come back to throughout this conversation. So this is the webinar is focused on this particular topic, and we're not focusing so much on the sales data reporting around depletions or shipments or RAD or some of the other functionality that's baked into Grapevines. This is about why you need to practice good CRM. And a lot of our customers don't yet utilize all the functionality that we have in the tool to be able to do it. And we want to tell you why it's important that you do. So why do it? And really it's about execution. You need to practice good CRM so that you can execute with excellence at retail. Right? It's a very competitive marketplace out there. Lots of brands competing to be on drink menus or wine lists or to be on display or promotion in key accounts. And if your team is not engaged in good CRM, you won't be able to execute better than your competition. And you will leave cases on the table, and you won't be able to achieve your goals and have as much success as you'd want. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's what my distributor does. My distributor does CRM. They're order takers. They call on the accounts. They do this work. And that is true. But as we know, in this marketplace, the distributors are burdened with huge portfolios and lots of tasks and objectives and goals across lots of different brands. If you're not in your accounts doing the important business, moving your business ahead, then someone else will get in there and move their business ahead. And the companies that do this CRM well and work directly with key accounts are the ones that are winning. And that is our belief here at Grapevines, and that's why we built this whole methodology. The other reason to do this is one of your biggest investments is in people. And if you don't know what your people are out doing every day, right, if you're not focusing them on doing the right things, then you may be underutilizing that resource. And our tool helps you manage that piece. So why CRM? This isn't our words. This is some experts out there. Harvard Business School and a Bain Consulting study said that 7 of 8 companies failed to achieve profitable growth, although more than 90% of them had detailed strategic plans. In other words, they sat down at the beginning of the year and they put their plan together. We're going to sell this many cases because we're going to grow in this channel. We're going to do this promotion. It's going to bring us this many cases. Those types of plans get put in place, but they don't have a way to execute the plan. They go out and they fly by the seat of their pants when it comes to execution. And this is what our tool does. It helps you deliver the plan through proper execution and management of that execution. Tony Robbins said, performance happens when the organization is aligned around a unified system from top to bottom. It's critical, we think, that everyone in your organization utilize Grapevines. Now, it should be company culture to do good CRM and to practice good CRM so that an executive, the president of the company, knows how the company's doing on your most important initiatives. And he can then drive performance down through his team and say, I notice we're not doing enough of this in these accounts. Let's go after that. I think that'll make a big difference. And then drive that activity down through the organization all the way to people in the field who are getting it done. I like this one. The next one is about owning your sales opportunities and talking about, having a good plan and really owning those opportunities. When you're ready to go out in the field to execute that plan, you want to run on solid ground, not on sand, right? Running on sand is like, yeah, I know I want to go and grow my business in the on-premise, but I don't know what accounts I'm going to visit. I don't know what activities I'm going to do. and therefore, you're running in sand, not on solid ground. And lastly, relationships are everything in this industry. You got to have a tool to help manage your relationships. I mean, if that's true, relationships are everything, then hey, you need a tool to manage them, and that's what Grapevines helps you do. So, first question you have to ask yourself, right, as you're beginning this process is, what drives your business? And we've broken this up into, plan, execute, and measure as our methodology for guiding you through this whole process, your sales process. So ask yourself, what are the things you must do to be successful? In other words, what are your sales drivers? For some companies, they know that getting on cocktail menus in key accounts is critical to driving their visibility for the brand and volume. And that's something they must do. You got to identify that and call it out and put it into your plan. For other companies, it's about getting displays during Halloween, right, in fine wine shops. Well, let's call that out, define it, and get it into your plan. You must know what your sales drivers are, and you must have a plan of what you intend to do about those sales drivers throughout the year. Once you've done that, it's time to execute it and work your plan. And the question becomes, do you have a tool to help focus and facilitate your execution? You may have 5 people out in the marketplace. You may have 500 people out in the marketplace working for your company, trying to execute your plan. But if you don't have a tool to help focus them on it and facilitate that execution, they're going to be spinning their wheels. They're going to be missing opportunities. They're going to be focusing on the wrong things at the wrong times, and you're not going to maximize your investment in your people. Okay? And then lastly is measure. Well, how's the plan working? Right? Do we need to make a change? Are these cocktail menus not delivering the volume that we wanted? Let's make a change. Evaluate performance. How are my people doing? Why is it that I have a rep in California that's made 50 account calls this week and done 5 staff trainings and secured 6 new cocktail menus, when I have another rep in Pennsylvania who's only made 6 account calls and recorded 1 staff training and no cocktail menus? Okay, well, there may be a problem there. Our tool gives you an opportunity to measure performance of your people and the markets, including distributors and what they're doing, and enables you to coach people to be more productive. And at the end of the day, this tool becomes a great sales management tool because it helps you coach people to be more productive out in the field. Now, Grapevines does a lot of different things. Right? It's a very extensive tool. None of our customers use everything, but this is a full list of a lot of the things that we do. Okay, from distributor management to key account CRM, activity management, business workflow, and reporting. We're going to focus on the key account CRM stuff today and say why that stuff's important and make sure that all of you are out doing it. So I've pulled out sort of what we think are the keys to success around some of these key sales drivers. Right? It's not a mystery what the sales drivers are in this industry. Right? They're the same for every company, and every company talks about them. The question is, what is your recipe for success? Which specific sales drivers do you need to focus on for which brands? And what specific activities do you want to focus on to drive your business? So we break it out into really 3 areas. One, there's key account management. And the start of doing good CRM is in key account management. So the questions are, have you segmented your account base? Okay, so a lot of us get data from Nielsen's or VIP or from other data sources that has some account segmentation in it. But really, you need to put an extra look at how you're segmenting your accounts. It's important to know if the account is a nightclub versus a fine dining establishment, because you want to do different activities in nightclubs than in fine dining. Right? So segment your accounts. Target your accounts. Are all of the key accounts in the marketplace identified within Grapevines? Now, a lot of people say, "Yep, all of my key accounts are flagged in the system. I know what my key accounts are." But really, the question is, what are the key accounts in the marketplace? Not your pet accounts. It's very easy to determine your biggest accounts, the accounts that sell the most cases for your brands. That's easy to determine. But that's not the size of the opportunity. The opportunity is, what are the best accounts in the market, whether you're doing business with them or not? Because there may be great accounts out there that you are not doing any business in. And if you could crack that account and start doing business there, you'd see tremendous results. So the targeting piece is about targeting accounts that are the best in the marketplace, not just the best for your brands at the time. National accounts are another big opportunity in key account management. We have a whole module around managing national account authorizations and mandates that we're going to get into in another webinar. But I wanted to call it out here. You should be looking at your national accounts and getting plans for them, and you can use Grapevines to do that. Next is objectives. As you're setting and establishing what your key account universe is, you have to be able to set account-specific objectives. So in the Hideout Lounge, I know that it is a style bar, and I know that I can now set some objectives in that account. I can see what my distribution is there, of course, and I can maybe set an objective to get some new distribution. I can also set an objective to get on a cocktail menu, or to get some more branding of you putting POS behind the back bar. But every key account should have an open objective, a specific objective that you are working on in that account to move your business ahead. We do that for you. We can help you do that in Grapevines. Once you're out doing all this work, it's important to survey your key accounts, right? And we have a survey tool that enables you to create specific surveys for different account channels and markets, and go out and survey how you're doing in specific accounts. So you can say, are we on the cocktail menu? Are my competitors on the cocktail menu? What's my price on the cocktail menu? Do I have a display? Is it in the right location? Etc. And all that survey data can be gathered in real time and reported on in Grapevines. But more importantly, you're able then to create account-specific objectives based on the answers. So in Abbey Liquors, if you didn't have a display by the front door, you can immediately create an objective to get a display by the front door in Abbey Liquors and put that onto your objectives list. Right? And then of course we have the analysis to be able to analyze all these things we've been talking about. But let's move over to activities management. So one of the most important things about activity management is, after you determine what your plan is and what your sales drivers are, you got to then link those to the activities that you want to do in the field, starting with setting goals. In Grapevines, you can set goals for activities. In other words, you can say, I want to get 10 by the glass placements for this product in this month in this market. And you can now work against those goals. As you're out in the field and logging calls and logging the work you're doing, you're able to record how you're doing against specific activity goals and measure performance against those activity goals. The next thing you want to record, all right, is your account visits. When you visit an account, you got to make sure you're taking good notes and you're recording you were there and who you spoke to, etc., and count how many calls you're making in a week, in a month. Certainly, you want to try to get new distribution in your accounts. We can help you. Plan and manage and track for that. You want to get menus. You want to do staff trainings. You want to do displays or ads. Almost any activity that you can think of, we're able to set goals for and track performance against in Grapevines. Now you're able to track performance by rep, and even do some real specific things. If you're logging all this activity, now you can start to do some direct marketing to the trade, because one of the things we're going to talk to you about is recording contacts in every account. Within Grapevines at that point, you can take contacts and send email blasts to them, or even a specific one-off email. It says, hey, I see we've just added a new cocktail menu in your account. Here's 5 new recipes for the upcoming season if you want to refresh your menu. Right? That can go out in an email blast to all of your key accounts. That's extremely powerful, and we enable you to do that. There's also distributor management things you have to do to drive your business, including setting sales goals for depletions and shipments, and performance analysis of wholesalers, program management, and even looking by rep and seeing what they're doing, and having some rep or sales rep CRM going on within the app. And Grapevines helps you do that. Topic for another webinar. So let's talk now about how you plan in Grapevines, right? And we're going to jump in the application and show you a little bit of this live. But the plan involves doing a couple things, right? You want to identify your key accounts. You want to set account objectives, right, in those accounts. You want to set your activity goals. And then you want to create what we call a journey plan, or a route, if you will, where you can actually put accounts on your calendar in Grapevines. So you can plan where you're going to go on what days, and share that with your team, and collaborate on it. Sync it with Outlook or Google Calendars, and it's a very, very powerful thing to do. So let me jump over to the application here. I'm going to show you for very quickly how we can plan here in Grapevines. Right, so here I am in Grapevines. Should be familiar to all of you. I'm in a dummy or demo org with the sales rep being the user. You'll notice on my home page I've created here a dashboard that is very focused on sales rep activities. Okay, I've got a first tab called KPIs, Key Performance Indicators, and I'm tracking things like certainly my sales to to my key accounts, right? Not the whole universe, but my key accounts. Not only volume this year, last year, but also number of accounts sold, right, in the key account specific universe, and the number of activities I've done in the key account universe, right? So for Chateau St. James this year, I've done 41 activities, but my business is still down. I've lost some accounts sold, right? So there's great analysis to be done just by looking at this stuff. But take a look at this. I can see what percentage of my key accounts I've visited this month, right? If I've got 100 key accounts under my name in the system, maybe my goal is to get to 50% of them every month. It's up to you to determine as a company what your target is. But certainly visiting 3% of your key accounts in a month is not good enough. So this is a great metric to use. Here's how many activities I've done by brand by month. Here's my activities versus goal. We talked about setting activity goals. Well, I've done 69 staff trainings. My goal is to do 83. I'm at 83% of my goal, right? Great way to measure what you're doing. And these are all filtered down to the individual rep, and of course we can roll them up through the hierarchy so that management sees the bigger picture. Here's how many open objectives I have in key accounts. What's great is I can click on this and open up my objectives, right? I can see my objectives in my key accounts. So here's my key accounts. I can see what my objectives are and when they're due. Okay, so great piece of information to have on a dashboard. And even surveys. How many of my key accounts have I surveyed this month? And we do something with surveys called survey scores, which we'll talk about in another webinar. But after you take that survey, it'll put out a score to tell you how well you're doing in that account. And you can even have that metric updated right here. So here's a great KPI dashboard for CRM, or what we call CRM, that we think we can help you adopt. Okay. Moving on then, I'm going to go to my account list. One of the important thing is how to identify my key accounts. So you can search for accounts lots of different ways. I'm going to just click on an account here called the Hideout Lounge, and I'm going to open up this account record. And every account has a field called the key account checkbox, right? Some customers use it, some don't, and we're able to even customize this and put different fields on here so you can specify different types of key accounts. But here you can see this box is checked. Okay, this is in my key account list, this is an account that's going to be important to me, and then I'm going to start to track. I can also include an account segment here. Again, this is something that's within each org, and we can activate it for you. But you can set up different account segments to select and apply to accounts, and start to segment your accounts that way. That's really important. But of course, every account has their own dashboard, right? As I scroll down here, I can see my dashboard, not just the sales by month, by brand, but also things like my activity detail is a tab here in my account dashboard. I can see what I've done in the account over time, right? So each account call that I've made, and what activities I did on that account call. So on the 15th, I got a cocktail menu secured for Griffin Bay Tequila. Okay, so there's my history. But let's go into setting objectives now. So once I've identified that this is a key account, let's go in and set some objectives. And there's a couple different ways to do that. Of course, my objectives are in a related list down here towards the bottom of the account. As I scroll down, I can see my objectives here placed in order. I can also hover over my objectives here and look at them, and I can create a new objective just by clicking on the new objective button. I can set an objective by product, give it a date to be achieved by, and a type of objective, etc. So once you've set all of your objectives, you can even go to your objectives tab and start to look at your objectives in list views. Here's a list of all my open objectives. Right? I can do that. Look at them by account. I can look at them by due date, by brand, by type of objective, etc. So now let's say I've identified my key accounts. I've created a little list view that says show me my key accounts with open objectives. Right, within my accounts tab. So now here's a list of accounts that have open objectives and the number of open objectives that I have in the account. I can now do things like say, oh boy, I know I'm going to be in a particular market this week. Maybe I'm in the billing city of whatever, and I can start to sort this by city. And let's say I'll be in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So I can say, you know what, I need to go to this account, this account, this account, and this account. And I want to go and make visits to these accounts because I have open objectives there. I can highlight them here by checking them, and then click Add to Calendar button at the top of the list, and it's going to open up my calendar just below. So I'm actually able to see my calendar, right, and what I have going on. And then I can say, okay, when do I want to do this? Well, I want to visit these accounts on Monday. So I'm going to put all these in for Monday, the 21st. And that's the day I'm in that market. I can set times that I want to do this. Maybe this is based on a work with schedule, right? Maybe it's based on just how I'm going to plan my day and do these visits on my own. And now here I go, and I hit save, and now I've just dropped these 4 accounts onto my schedule, onto my calendar in those appropriate days. So we call that journey planning, and of course then you're able to see or share your calendar with your manager. And so everyone knows where you are and what you're going to be working on. Okay. Let's take a step back now and take another look here at what's next, which is executing. I've got my plan. How do I execute within Grapevines? Now, first and foremost, good CRM means you should be getting contact names in all of your key accounts, right? Name of the buyer, name of the manager, even names of bartenders or the sommelier in the account, right? These are the people that influence the business there. You should know who they are. And you can judge a good sales rep by how many people they know in these accounts. So secure the contact name, put it in the system, and get their email address. I know it's hard to do, and sometimes they don't want to give it to you, but I'll tell you what, if you could say as a company that you have, 100 names and email addresses of sommeliers in key accounts, and I can now send them email blasts, inviting them to a wine dinner, a winemaker dinner, or to a trade event, or suggesting food pairings, what have you. That's extremely powerful, and not a lot of companies are doing it, and you can use Grapevines to make that happen. Then you're going to log your calls, right? When you visit the account, you got to log the call. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a second, but you're going to record the activities that you did in the account. You're going to maybe take an order commitment, right? That's something you can log on the call that says, hey, this account told me that they wanted to buy my product, and they wanted to buy a case of it, and they want it delivered next week. We have a way of recording that and tracking it so that you can forward it on to your wholesaler, right? And you do that through this email summary. That's part of our log a call module. It's part of the log a call page. So you get an email summary coming in to you after you've logged the call, and you forward it to your distributor and say, hey, here's what I was out doing today in this account. Can you please follow up on these 3 things? Okay. You also can take a survey, right, when you're in the account. We spoke about this, and we'll touch on it briefly. But once you've done your survey and you've logged your call, it's time to refresh your objectives, right? And on the log a call page, you can close objectives that you've finished. You can open new objectives that you want to do in the account but that you weren't able to accomplish. So always keep fresh objectives, open objectives, in your key accounts. And then chatter. As part of the execution, you can even chatter your logged call, the details of your logged call. Automatically have it go into chatter. Right? If you're not using chatter, it's a great way to collaborate and share best practices. So you can put it in chatter, or you can also just go into chatter after the fact and chat something and upload upload a picture into chatter. Say, look, I just secured this great display. Here's a picture of it, and take a look. And then your teammates can see it and they can contribute to it and say, it's great. Where'd you get that piece of point of sale? Or how do I, can you help me build a display tomorrow in my account? What have you. So let's take a quick jump over to Grapevines and let's take a look at how you would log a call. So here I am. Actually, I'm going to show you something. I'm on my home page here, and I have my calendar showing down below. Right? I can actually look at my calendar in different views, right? Any way I want. But I can also just click on an account and go directly to it, right from my calendar. So let me show you that view. Here's my calendar. I can say, yeah, I'm going to go to this account and make that visit. I'm going to click on it right from here, okay, and it'll take me to that account. There we go. I'm actually going to go into the Hideout Lounge because I know that's my old favorite, and I can demo nicely from it. I've clicked on it from the recent items, and it's opening up here. So here I am in the Hideout Lounge. One of the things I want to do first is, obviously, we talked about looking at the account dashboard, seeing what's going on, right? I can see that I have 6 open objectives here. I can go and look at what my open objectives are. I can see who my contacts are. I can prepare myself, right, before I walk in the door. But once I do, I can now log the call. I click this log a call button at the top of the page, and it's going to open up the log a call page. Now, we have a lot of information on this log a call page. None of our customers use all of it, so forgive me for this being a bit of an eyesore. But here's all the things you can do when you're logging a call. Obviously, the date you did it, but you can record the contact you met with in the account. If a contact doesn't exist in the account, you can create a new contact right from here, okay, by clicking this button. You can type your comments in here. And then move down below. I can create a follow-up task or even put another meeting in the future on my calendar. And what people say is never close a meeting or finish a meeting without setting up your next step or without setting up your next meeting. And you can do that right from here by using these 2 buttons. I can look at what open objectives I have in the account already. I can add an objective in the account if I need to. And I can log all the different activities that I've done in the account. Right? Maybe I did a staff training while I was here. I can log that by clicking the staff training button. Right? I pick the product, and I can say I trained 12 people on this date, and I can say I gave 10 t-shirts. Whatever. We can customize the fields that you want on each one of these activities. The order commitment is an important one. I can also record an order commitment as while I'm logging this call. And I can say, this a customer, right, who I met with, by the way, Ron Fleming, said that he wanted a case of Griffin Bay tequila. He committed it to me today, but he said he wants it shipped on his order next week. So I'm going to put it in here for shipment date of Monday. Now, that's a great way to record things that you can forward onto your distributor. Okay. I can now save and even add photos right from here. If I'm on an iPad, this works great. You're able to put photographs, attach them directly to these records. But I've also checked this summary email box. So I will get an email summary that I can forward on to my wholesaler. I'm going to save this logged call. Okay. Another thing you can do in an account is obviously survey. Right? We've spoken about it briefly, but I'm going to show you a little bit more about how you can survey in an account. So right here from the account page, I can simply click the New Survey button, and it will give me the opportunity to fill out the survey. In this demonstration, we have a bunch of different types of survey. We call them survey plans that you can choose from. Okay, here I have like a summer cocktail survey, but I also have an everyday on-premise survey. I'm going to select that one. That's the one I want to fill out in this account. It's now going to load that survey, and you're going to be able to come in and answer yes, no on your iPad, right? Very simple to do. Works great in a mobile format. Have different tabs. I can say how many drinks are on the menu. I can say how many drinks I have. Is it an appropriate recipe? What's the price? Right? Lots of different things you can track about your menus and visibility or displays if you're in the off-premise, etc. If you're a beer company, you can track if you're on the tap handle, any POS in the account, whatever's important to you, right? And submit this. So I've just now recorded a nice account call. I've gotten a summary email that's in my inbox that I can show you, that's got your logo on it, your company logo, and it details all the things you've done that you can forward on. I can even come in now and chatter something. It says, look, I just had a great call with this buyer, and great visit to Hideout Lounge. Right, and share this. And now your teammates can all say great job, or they can say, do you want to set up a promotion? Or they may say, here's some drink menu recipes you might want to look at and share with that account. But now I'm closing the loop all the way through on my logging a call. Let's jump back into our our PowerPoint here, and we're almost finished with the demonstration. But last piece, right, is measure. How do you measure all this CRM activity in Grapevines? Well, we've got reports and dashboards, and most of our customers are doing a good job, tracking their sales, their depletions, their shipments, their accounts sold, and so on. But you can also, as I've shown you, use dashboards to track all this great activity and CRM activity, and start to track performance against those CRM activities. Right? Are you focused on the right brands and the right accounts? Are you doing the right activities? And which of my sales reps or people in the field are performing well? And do we have some best practices we can share? Do I have someone who's not performing well? Do I need to take a look at that? So use these dashboards and embed them all over the application where you need them, when you need them. So to wrap up, we'll say that Grapevines helps you plan, execute, and measure the things that drive your sales and improve your execution at retail. That means on or off premise. And the real question now is, what's your recipe? What are those sales drivers, and what are those activities, and when do you want people to do them? And how are you going to manage your team using Grapevines? That's where your secret sauce comes in. So that's where you guys come up with your recipe, and then if you can't do it yourself, come to us. Someone was asking a question about measuring and counting the number of accounts that you have, maybe by market or by region. We can easily help you set up a report that can show you how many accounts you may have in a specific market. You can, and also then how many key accounts you have in a specific market by channel. Even things like how many accounts you have by segment, if you've segmented your accounts. So we're able to create a very simple report for you that'll do that. So if you have that as something you want to set up, please reach out to us through support@grapevines.com, which is the way you reach our customer support team. Support@grapevines.com with an email, and we'll turn that report around for you in no time. There's a question about maybe you're a smaller company, or you've got half a dozen or people sell across the country that actually call on accounts. It's their job to call on accounts, and the question is, how do you become familiar with your accounts in the market? So I would say it's a good practice, right, to sit down with your local distributors and come up with these plans together. So I would say step one would be sit down with the local distributor and ask them, what are the key accounts in the marketplace for your brands, and which accounts should you be targeting? This exercise should be done with your distributors so you get a consensus on that. But then again, when I was a sales manager, I had reps who, would be online and be looking at blogs about new restaurants opening or hot accounts in the city, or looking at, magazines, local magazines that rate, top bars. You need to look at that information and get those accounts identified in grapevines and pay a visit to them. Right? You got to be out in the field. You have to have your ear to the ground, and you have to be spending time finding out what accounts are out there, meeting those accounts, meeting the buyers, and following where they go from account to account. That job is not just for the distributor. That job is also for suppliers who want to have a presence in key accounts.